Yeah. You. Hello and welcome. So tonight's recipe inspiration class is going to cover a few different things. So one of them is we're going to be using the TM6 and the TM7. The TM6 is the older version, obviously the previous version, and the TM7 is the new version that is available. My TM6 is a little bit different because it's a limited edition, so it is a sparkling white. So please don't look at it and think that looks a bit strange. It's got like a sparkly mottled top to it, so it's just got a different plate on the front. But the internals are exactly the same. So currently in the TM6, I am steaming some sliced potatoes that I sliced in the cutter. So the sliced potatoes are the baby potatoes that you get. They've got the skin on, and I've just literally just sliced them up, and they're steaming in the simmering basket they've been steaming for 15 minutes. And then I'm going to coat them in some olive oil. So that's about to finish. It's got a minute left. So I will grab the bowl and no, I won't actually. We will start with this one. So in the TM7, I'm going to be doing the beetroot hummus. And the first step of this recipe requires you to actually toast your ingredients. So we're going to hit start. So just to go back, actually, I will go back so you can see. So this is my home screen. You can actually set your home screen how you want it. There's a few different options. So I'm just going to go into my week because I like to have my week up there so I can see what I'm cooking. And in today's recipe, I'm going to do the beetroot hummus. So I'll select that. And then I'm going to go start. All right. And it says walnuts, 75 grams of walnuts. So I've got my 75 grams of walnuts in here. So I'm just going to pop them in. Oh, perfect, 75 grams. And it's going to tick it off for me because I've got it correct. It's almost like a little, ting, like well done. There you go, tinged. Then we've got sesame seeds, 20 grams of sesame seeds. So I'll pop those in. That's 23. I've gone over, so we'll have to tick the box ourselves. And we're going to go next. And now it says, so we're going to toast it for 10 minutes on 120 degrees, speed 1. So dry. And there's no oil in there, so that's just dry toasting. Now, if you were doing this on the stove, so I'm going to hit play. So if you were doing this on the stove, obviously you wouldn't be able to leave it, and you'd have to keep standing there and giving them a quick stir. This does it for you. So that's 10 minutes time I've got back. I don't have to stand at the stove. All right, now while that's doing that, I'm going to go back to my TM6. So my TM6 has just dinged, if you heard it, it's just finished. So I'm taking the lid off, and I'm going to get a spatula to grab out that simmering basket. Now I have got in here, as I said, this is a limited edition, so it's a limited edition spatula as well. This basket that's in here is actually for a TM31, so please do ignore the fact that it hasn't got a lid on. All right, so that's my potatoes, so you can see my potatoes are all nicely steamed. They're not going to be completely cooked because I'm going to put them in the air fryer. All right, now then, just because I love to show off some of the nice mix shop products in there that we have. I love these balls. So these balls are from the mix shop. You get them in a set of 3. They're stackable like this, or they're actually stackable inside each other with the little hook sits inside. So they're great for saving space, as well as you've got the cover on the lid as well. So it just keeps it fresh. All right, now then we're going to get our olive oil. So this is how quick and easy these are to make. So you're just going to get your olive oil. You're just going to give it a bit of a spritz in the bottom. No measurements involved. I don't do measurements unless I have to. Then we're going to do 2 teaspoons of veggie rub. Now, the veggie rub is actually a Skinny Mixers recipe, all right, that I made up. And I've made up it into a little jar, which stays in my herb drawer. So it means that literally I have these, I'll be making these almost every day because they're so good. These are going to be... now, I don't know what you call them in Australia, but in England, the potato scallops. Probably the same thing here, I dare say. So all I'm going to do is tip the potatoes in there like that. All right. And then I'm just going to toss it in here. Whoops. Got a bit excited. So that it coats them in the spices and the olive oil. Now, if you feel like you haven't got enough olive oil in, you can always pop some more in. You do have to give it quite a good toss around. Shake around, I don't know what to call it, but so you've got that where they've got a little bit of coating on them, and some olive oil. Then what we're going to do is And this is probably going to make a mess on my bench, but oh good. We'll just pop them into the tray like so. All right. And again, these don't need to be, they don't need to be perfectly aligned. I'm making a mess of these tonight. So just pop them so that they're not completely covered on top of each other. You want a little bit of space between them. So if you've got 2 or 3 stuck together, just space them out a little bit so that they're not, they can cook. I'm going to pop this in the air fryer for 15 minutes and then I'll show you what it looks like when they're done. And then okay. And I'm back. All right, so they're now cooking in the air fryer. So we finished with that one. Take that one away. Put that one to the side. And we've got, how long have we got left on this timer? So let's have a look. So we have 6 minutes left on here. So I'm going to take this off, empty the water out, give it a quick rinse. Don't need a pre-clean in this one. I'm just going to do the tortillas next. So I'd love to know if anybody's made their own tortillas before. So I'll pop that back in. So I'm going to go into my week. So on your TM6, it's a bit different. So in your TM6, you go home screen, you go my week. And we go, where are we? Here we go, flour tortillas. All right, and we select it. Now you can print this down and make this into a smaller recipe if you wanted to do only 6 or 8. I don't, because all I'll do is I'll freeze them. So I'll freeze them either when I've made them and baked them, or I'll freeze them in the dough balls and then just grab them out when I want them. You don't need to reproof them then as well. So it says 500 grams of baker's flour. Now, if you're going to be, well, if you're a bit like me and you want to have, I've got some wholemeal and whole wheat flour and I've got some baker's flour. So I'm going to use both. So I've done 250 of each, like that. Now, when you're using whole wheat versus your normal, you can find it can be a bit, it needs a bit more liquid sometimes, but you just have to wing it with that one. So a teaspoon of salt. Now, I did learn something the other day that actually surprised me. It said that if you actually put your salt into your bread before you've done this next step, it doesn't leaven. I'm not very good with words sometimes. It's the protein. I can't even think what it's called. Anyway, it's when it uses the protein in it. Right. So we've got baking powder. We've got salt. So what I was getting to is lately I've been leaving it out, putting it in afterwards to see whether it makes a difference to the actual stretch of the dough. And it has in a few instances. So we're doing speed 3 for 10 seconds, and that's just going to mix it up. Because we haven't put any liquid in yet. So it's just mixing it all together. Now, what I will show is, this is only on speed 1 at the minute, so this is something we can also do. So when this one's cooking, you can't lift the lid. When this one is, you can have a look. Pop the lid back on. You can see the red pulsing. So if you see it, it sort of pulses, there you go, red pulsing to say it's very hot. But you can lift and look, which I like that, of the TM7. So we're going to go next. So now we're going to put in 80 grams of olive oil. We'll tear it. Just use my spatula and get the last bit of that oil out, because I was definitely putting in my 80 grams. There we go, 81. Perfect. Next. And how good is guided cooking for super easiness? The kids can even do it. So now we're going to do 250. And when you get a pro like me, you can actually do this like from the back. There we go, 250. Next. Doesn't tick it off though. I like it ticking off on the side. It doesn't tick it off on here. So then it says insert the measuring cup into the mixing bowl lid. So pop that back on. We go next. And now it's going to do a 2-minute knead. So it's going to knead that into a nice dough. And what I'm going to grab is I'm going to grab the two things that I want. Now, if you're not lucky enough, fact, just let me, I might grab a little fork. Now, you're lucky enough to have a bread mat, which is, this is, okay. Now, you might think, oh, I've just cleaned it, that's why it's in a cloth, but that's not the case. So when I actually will wash this after I've used it today, I will actually wash it. It's really easy to wash in soapy water, but I will wash it, and while it's wet, I'll pop it up on a clean tea towel. I'll roll it down to dry it off. Like so it's nice and dry. I do this, and then I take it out, back out, and it's obviously dry. Then I will put it in a clean tea towel once it's finished. And then I would store it in that tea towel, because if you store it in the tea towel, it keeps the dust and the dander and all the bits out of the of it, so it's clean to use next time you want to use it. So that's what I've done. So I've got 45 seconds left yet before we pop it in here. So we're just waiting. So we've got 1 minute 28 on this one. Oh, I think we might be a bit into the wall. So we're going to pop this into the mat to prove it. Now, there's a few different things you can do for proving. You can pop it into, I normally just wrap it up and put it in the microwave. I don't put the microwave on, but it's a sealed unit, so it just keeps the heat in while it proves for 15 minutes. And you can put it in a thermoserver. Thermoservers are great as well. You can pop it inside the thermoserver. It will also prove in there, as long as you haven't had anything cold in it or it's been somewhere cold. You can even put the thermoserver with a bit of hot water in the bottom and put the lid on and sit it on the top of that, and that will help prove it as well. If you're lucky enough to have an oven like mine, where it goes down to 30 degrees, I normally will just put the oven on and pop it in the oven. Now we've got our dough all mixed up there. I didn't need to do anything. I just stood here and talked to you. Pop it upside down. Now, if I was using a TM7 spatula, you actually have a TM7 spatula that you can, and it takes the bottom off here. Whereas normally I just give it a wiggle. So we just give it a wiggle. So all I'm doing, and I don't know if you can kind of see it, but it's come out now mostly anyway. But this bit, I'm just wiggling it round. And what it does is it drops it off. There we go. So I've actually got next to nothing in that bowl. All right, so then just going to put it together. So what does it say to do? So it says transfer dough onto a silicone bread mat to a floured surface and shape into a ball. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to make it into a nice ball, like so. And then we're going to let it rest. It says wrap dough in the silicone bread mat. So I'm going to wrap it up like this, look like a parcel. It says cover with the towel and leave to rest for 15 minutes. So I'm going to pop this in the microwave for 15 minutes, just so it's out of the way. You can prove it there. And I'm going to put a timer on the Thermomix. Put timer on here for 15 minutes. There we go, press play. So that's going to go on in the background, and this machine will not switch off while it's doing that. Now, if I wasn't doing a live video, I would now put some water in here and some detergent, and I will put it on a pre-clean on the dough cleaning function. Because I'm doing the live video, I don't want to do that because it will be noisy. So I will clean that bowl when we finish the video. Moving back to this one, so we've toasted our seeds. So doesn't really look much difference when they're toasted. It just releases some of the oils and releases the flavor. So it just smells pretty cool. All right, now then we're going to grind that for 12 seconds on speed 10. Now, another feature of this machine versus this one is that this one's a lot quieter. On speed 10, it's still going to be loud, but not anywhere near as loud as this one. And Zoom will probably take it now. Now we can look at the next step. So it says straight down the sides of the bowl. There we go. So I just give this a quick wash. Put that oil on it. Always have a towel on your hip when you're cooking. It makes life much easier. All right, so let's go back to where we were up to. So let's go next. Take the lid off. So it says scrape down the sides. So I'll show you what it looks like. How cool is that? Super easy. All right. So if you're want to make things like your LSA mix, so your linseed, sunflowers and almonds, It takes literally 10 seconds. Most things take 10 seconds. It's amazing. Now I can already see the moisture in here, so it's releasing some of the moisture from those nuts and seeds, which is great. So go next. Now it says blend 8 seconds on speed 8, so it's going a little bit less. So we'll go play 8 seconds. And I love the blend mode because it slowly builds up. So if you're doing soup or a high liquid, that slowness stops it from getting unbalanced. Because I know in the TM6, I've done soups in a recipe where it's just said up to speed 8, and I've done it, and the machine's gone boo, and I've gone, ah. So the blend function is way better, way better. All right, so it says scrape down the sides again. So I'm going to scrape down the sides. It doesn't really look any different to the last time I showed you. It's just probably getting a little bit more moisture out of those seeds. Next. So it says blend again, 8 seconds, speed 8. Bit of a trend going on here. So the difference with this recipe is that it doesn't have any chickpeas in it. It's like, how can you make hummus without chickpeas? Because that's how I make hummus. So I haven't made this particular recipe before, so it'll be interesting to see. All right, so we finished the blend bit, and this is what we were left with. So as you can see, because it's around the edge, it's getting damp. So it's actually pulling the oils out of those nuts and seeds, which is really good for you. So next we're going to put in our cooked beetroot. Now you can buy this raw, peel it, chop it, cook it yourself. I've done it the lazy way, and I'll be honest, this is out of the tin. Because sometimes life, you just need to make it easy, all right? So I'm just going to pop all that in. So that's just drained. We've got cream cheese, which I did have done. That's in the fridge. I always like to keep these things cold. So this is the cream cheese. Just put that in. So, cream cheese or Philadelphia, whichever way it wanted. Oh, it was going to tick it off itself then. Then we've got one. Now you ask for one garlic clove. I've run out of garlic cloves, but I always have garlic paste in the fridge. So we're using garlic paste. So it's just 1 teaspoon, or in my case, 1.5, because I like garlic. Don't know about you, but I love a bit of garlic in everything. All right. So we'll tick that off. Then it says bread. So we have basically 1 piece of bread that I've just ripped up. That's just from yesterday. Tick that off. Ground cumin. Now I have put the rest of the spices all in together. So in here I've got ground cumin, which I'll tick off. We've got lemon juice, 15 grams. So let me just tear that. I'll tick that in. 15 grams exactly. So it's going to tick that off for us. Sometimes I can't be bothered to wait for it to tick it off. Then we've got fine sea salt, which I've got in here, ground black pepper, which I've got in here as well. So I'm just going to pop all that in. Okay. Next. All right, now it says mix 15 seconds, speed 7. So it's just going to pop the lid on. I love this bit. You put the lid on and you just hit play. Then I realized I needed a bowl to put it in. Okay, so hit next. All right, so it says scrape down the sides. Ooh, it does look like hummus. Oh, it smells amazing. I will do the taste test, so I'll tell you what it tastes like when it's ready. So we're just going to scrape down. So I'll show you what it looks like at the moment before I scrape it down. So that's what we look like at the moment. All right, and then I'm going to scrape it down now. I can see that there's a couple of bits that haven't quite got blended. So I dare say that's why we probably blend it again. Possibly. See. All right. Next. And it says, yeah, mix 15 seconds on speed 8. So it's going to blend it again. So then it says check and adjust seasoning. So you can obviously taste it, see whether it needs anything else. At least it. So, All right, look at that. Yum. So let's have a little taste, shall we? So let's just pop that on there. That's good. Yeah, that's definitely good. Yum. All right. So let's put this into the bowl. So, but how quick was that? It doesn't have any chickpeas in. That still throws me. I've always made hummus with chickpeas, but I suppose it does have sesame seeds in it, so it's, but usually you put tahini in it. And the other thing is you can make so many things you can make from scratch with the Thermomix. Now, when you go around with your spatula, always go clockwise, never anti-clockwise. Otherwise, you'll take chunks out of your spatula. The only exception to the rule is when you're going nowhere near the blade. So if you're scraping down from the sides, you're fine. But if you're going near the blade, always go clockwise. Let's get this round. Takes you longer really to get it out than it does to make it. Who's made dips in the Thermomix? In fact, I'd usually ask at this point, if you've got a Thermomix, can you let me know in the chat what model you've got? That would be lovely. Just so that I can know if I need to tweak any of the recipes for the models, if you've got an older model maybe. And also if you've got a Cookie Dough account. I'd love to know if you've got a Cookie Dough account as well. And if not, why not? Is there a reason you don't have one? I would not be without my Cookie Dough. My Cookie Dough is my life. I didn't used to be a cook. I couldn't cook, to be fair, before I got my Thermomix, and the Thermomix definitely changed my life. Now then, all right, so we've got, obviously you can see from the bowl, we've got a lot in there. We've still got a little bit on the blades. So I'm going to pop it in and I'm going to show you another function. So I'm going to pop the lid back on. Next, so this is transfer to a bowl and drizzle with olive oil on the top, and then obviously serve or pop it in the fridge. Oh, there's a bit there for me. Ooh. So we're going to finish that. Now I'm going to go to the mode screen. Now we have lots of modes on here, but I'm going to go to the turbo. Now, the benefit of this turbo over this turbo is that this turbo, you've got to do 1 second or 2 seconds and just keep turning the dial to do it. This one, you can actually go up. So if I wanted to do 1 second but twice, I can go plus, and it does it twice. So then I just press play. Stop. Right. So then what that does, plays a tune. It just goes around twice. So if you were doing a dip, so for instance, if I'm doing the capsicum and sun-dried tomato dip, that uses turbo multiple times, where we used to do sort of 3 or 4 or even 5 turbos. That you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and just set it going, and it just does it automatically, which I love. So that's now pushed all that to the edge of the bowl. So now I can go around with my spatula and get out at least another portion of the dip. There we go. Got a bit on the top as well. There we go. Because I don't like waste, so that's got most of it out. All right, so that's that. Okay, so I'm gonna again. I will put this on a pre-clean, but not while we're on video because of just for the noise cancelling effects. All right. And it's not so much that you won't hear it actually, because the Zoom cancels it out, but then my voice you won't hear either. All right, so that's our hummus. I'll show you that. There you go. Lovely beetroot hummus, which you can have on crackers, or in this instance, I'm going to make tortillas and I'm going to pop it on there. Now I'm just going to stick this in the fridge, and then I will sort it out afterwards. There we go. So bear in mind how much that made, right? So that's a big container. So that's made the equivalent of, I'd probably say 4 tubs from the supermarket. as opposed to paying $5 for one tub. So that's $20 of beetroot hummus. Certainly didn't cost me $20 to make it. And it's made with no extras, no additives, no nothing in it. So it makes it really, really good to make from scratch. Okay, where are we at? So let's have a see on our timer. How are we going? We've got 3 minutes left. Well, I'm just gonna go for it, I think, because we're on time, we're doing well. Now then, what I might do is, because we finished with the TM6. Now, if you've not got a Thermomix, one of the things when you do get one, you'd be daft not to, by the way, but if you do get one, what I would suggest that you do is make sure you always switch it off before you shut it down. So this machine, you hold it down, you just hold the bottom button down and it will shut down. I didn't actually hold it down long enough. This one is the same, you hold it down to shut it down. Now I'm just going to talk before I switch it off, because I'm going to use the plug socket. In fact, I'll just switch this one off actually. Let me just do that. There you go. That'll shut down. It plays your tune when it shuts down as well. So it says divide dough into approximately 16 portions and roll into circles, approximately 250 grams. Sorry, 250 centimeters. Dusting with extra flour as needed if dough is sticky. Place a large heavy based frying pan 26 to 30 centimeters over the medium-high heat. So that's obviously we're doing it on the stove. Place one tortilla into the pan and fry for approximately 1 minute or until bubbles. So I'm going to do it in this machine, which may work or may not. It did work last time I made them, but it's just not made them for a while. So then you turn it over and you fry for 30 seconds. So it's just to basically doing it in a pan, dry frying in a pan. And that's all that is. So it's transfer and then obviously repeat with the rest of your tortillas. So I'm going to finish that. So people will say I'm cheating. I will agree, I am cheating. Sometimes cheating is good. All right, so the TM7 is off. So it's switched off, so I can now unplug it safely. And I'm going to plug this in. And this will heat up. Now, it doesn't take long to heat up. I've got it on max. So I'm just going to leave that there while I get out. In fact, I'm going to move my TM7 just so I have a little bit more room. All right, now then, so I'm going to move this carefully because this is going to get hot. So move this to the side here. And then I'm going to get my mat out and wash my hands. All right, so I have to say, really, it hasn't really proven very well because I didn't put any cheese with it, so that's all right. Any questions, anybody, so far? No, we're all good? All right. Now then, okay, so this is not sticky at all, so that's really good. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it into a bit of a sausage. The mats are brilliant for this. So if you haven't got one of these mats, they are available in the mix shop for $60. So I'm going to go with that. Oh, this way is even better. Well, there you go. The time is just finished. All right, so we're going to cut that into now 16 pieces. I'm not very good at 16. So we'll do that. I'm going to do that in half. This is really good as well. These are about $5. So these are awesome. That's 8, so I need each one in half again. Last time I actually made these all with just with white baker's flour. And I have to say, actually, I like the feel of these with a bit of the whole wheat in as well. Where am I up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 2 more. So 14. And then one there. 16. So right, I've got my 16 pieces. Now, I'm not going to use all of these tonight. So what I'm going to do is I will put these I'll roll them into balls like that, and then they'll go in the freezer in either some cling wrap or wrapped up or in a Ziploc bag together. I'll just put them side by side, and then I'll grab them out when I want them. So this is heating up nicely. It's not quite ready yet. There is a green light on it that it comes on when it's ready. So I just make them all into a bowl. There you go, it's ready now. So this is where, when you're doing a live video, anything can happen. Like the cat's just walked in. So, you know, there's a chance the cat might jump up and say hello. He's prowling the perimeter. All right, so let's just... All right, so we don't need to be pretty looking. So I'm just going to lift this up. You can see it's nice and, well, you might not be able to see it's nice and hot. And I'm just going to push it down like that. And I'm going to go like that. And we're going to, like that. Whoops. And I did have some tongs. There we go. We've got a little flat one. Little tongs. Ah, because obviously once we've flattened it, which I've done, I can't touch it on here. So I just need to move it around like that. And literally it will be cooked within minutes. So has anybody used a machine like this, or has anybody made their own tortillas before? Reminds me of Play-Doh, actually, this. That's what it feels like. Now I just need a plate or a thermoserver, is even better even. Now I don't know how big these are supposed to be, or whether they're supposed to be little. You can actually get a cast iron version as well, where you put the tortilla onto the similar sort of thing, but it doesn't cook it. You just put it in the middle of the cast iron and you push it down and it just flattens it out. So it just saves you rolling it out. I mean, we could easily, which I'll do as well, while we're just put some of these up here. I'm just going to roll one out. So find my rolling pin. Because they only take a minute on each side, that should be cooked by now. Right. Quite cute, actually. I'm not very good at doing round, so I'll be honest, all right? Round is not my forte, hence I have this machine. So that's pretty much cooked. All right, so that's a little wrap. So this one's a little bit thinner, so let's see how we go with that. That down. And I'll roll another one. So the idea with that machine is to make it quicker in terms of you don't need to roll them. I think for me, I'd like it a little bit thinner. So I'm just going to roll them out. Now it could be that if you've got a TM7, that the TM7 may have a video on how to actually do this and how to get your tortillas to the right shape and the right size. I am on a map that actually has the sizing on, so I could use that. That would be another awesome idea. And these will go dry quite quickly, so you do need to work quickly or have them covered with a damp cloth. That's another thing to bear in mind as well. So this is cooking quicker because it's a little bit thinner. Now I believe from memory, these soften up over time, but they might not do because of the fact that I've put whole wheat flour in. So we'll see what they turn out like. But because this is quite crispy. So it may not roll like a wrap, but tastes good though. Tastes very good actually. So a little bit of hummus. Oh, I need to show you the how are we doing for time, cats? What time is it?
7:35.
Oh, not too bad then. All right. So I'm just going to put a little bit of hummus on this flatbread so you can see. Ah, smells amazing. Oh. That's good. That is very good, actually. Right. So I think, so I would say that these are more like a flatbread. It could, stop talking and eating on it. So it could be that doing them on this machine is because it's cooking them. I think it may be cooking them too fast, so it's making them crisp. Don't know if you can hear that. That sounds very funny. But they taste amazing. And I know the kids would love them. That's really good. Okay, so while that's cooking, 1 minute, I'll get the other things out in there. That's all right. Now, how about this? How good do they look? Now, don't know about you, but I love. Now they're a bit warm. I'm gonna just try. Amazing. Well, they're really good too. So that's just looking at different ways that you can use your Thermomix with your air fryer or any other appliance that you want to use it with. So I'll try and flatten another one using this method. So I think with this, you've got to flatten it and then move it around because it doesn't really flatten it that well. Yeah, makes it a little bit thicker. If you roll it out, you can actually get it a bit thinner than the machine can. So that would be my tip. This is great for cooking it on for speed, and being able to do it obviously on camera. Doing them in a pan would probably be just as easy as rolling them out yourself and popping them in the pan. The other thing that might happen in a pan versus not on here is that you'll get that bubble effect, so it will bubble up. Whereas this we're not allowing it to do that. I mean, I could actually leave the lid off. We could try one without the lid on and see if it bubbles up because that's the same equivalent. But probably not on this one because I've already started cooking that one. Has anybody got any questions, feedback? I'm just going to eat. No? Anything in the chat, Kaz?
No, nothing in the chat at the moment.
No, we're all quiet tonight. Is anybody going to give the hummus a go?
Michelle says looks good. I'm going to try the hummus tomorrow.
Yeah, the hummus is
Definitely looks really good.
Yeah, the hummus is amazing. Very impressed with that, considering it has no chickpeas in it. That still blows my mind. But anyway, so this one's a little bit. So this one that I've done now is just that little bit thicker. This one may be a bit more pliable when it comes out. But I actually think I quite like the thin ones. And the rest I'm going to freeze because we don't need all these. So I'm just going to do another thin one. And pop it on there like that. And I'll leave it and see if it bubbles. All right, well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed tonight's class and you would like to do me a favor, if you wouldn't mind scanning this QR code and leaving me a Google review, that would be awesome. This helps my business just to helps me get my word out and helps me with Google to go up with Google. So if you wouldn't mind scanning that and leaving a review, that would be amazing. If not, I look forward to seeing you next time I'm live. If you're watching this on YouTube, please remember to subscribe and tick that you've enjoyed it, if you have enjoyed it, of course. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you next time I'm live or recorded. All right, take care.